Hi everyone, my name is Nick Reynolds. I'm a developer on the Veramo team, and today we're going to tell you a little bit about Veramo, as well as give you a demo of how you can quickly and easily get set up with Veramo and start using it in a few different ways. So Veramo is a project that came out of the Uport project. The Uport team realized a few important things. Number one, standards are difficult to work with. Interoperability is very difficult, and it's hard to work on multiple platforms with the same code base. So Veramo was created to address these three major issues. Veramo is a framework slash library slash API, depending on your point of view, for decentralized identifiers and verifiable data. It's multi-platform, can run in Node.js as well as in a browser or a React Native app. It's extensible and modular, so you can write your own plugins or use one of the many plugins we've already created. And of course, it's open source and permissionless. So today we're going to hopefully demonstrate the easy interoperability of Veramo by issuing three verifiable credentials in three different ways in just a few minutes. First, we'll show you how to use the Veramo command line interface to issue a credential using the did_key method and the JWT signature. Then we'll show you how to get a Veramo instance hosted on the cloud through Heroku and how to connect to it in a Node.js app. And then we'll issue a credential using the did method and the JSON LD proof type. And then we'll show how you can use a React app to interact with Veramo and issue credentials from a Metamask account with did ether and something called EIP-712. So first we'll get started with the Veramo command line interface. You're going to want to go ahead and install the Veramo CLI package globally like this, and then you can start using these Veramo commands. We'll head on over to our VS Code, and we can run that first Veramo command. And this goes ahead and creates our agent config. This is a default config with all the methods and plugins that come on a default agent. You might want to modify this eventually, but it's a good starting point. Now we'll go ahead and we'll create a did. We're using our local KMS. Just give it a little name. There's our DID. And we can use it to create a credential. We're going to use the JWT proof format for this one, use that DID we just created. We'll go ahead and make ourselves the subject of it as well. Put a claim in there. And there is our credential. Now, like I said, you can modify this agent config here. So let's say we want to add the ability to resolve a new did method. We'll go ahead and add the ENS did method here, and we're going to use the universal resolver for it, just because that's easiest. And now, because we've added that to our agent config, we can actually go ahead and just resolve did ENS identifiers now right from the command line. There's our ENS DID. Now we'll show you how you can work with a cloud agent hosted on Heroku and connect to it through a Node.js app. First step will be to deploy that agent to Heroku. So you can go to this repository that you see here, the Uport project / Veramo agent deploy. And you'll notice that it is a template repo. So you're going to want to use this template, create new repository, give it a name. This one already exists because I've already done this. We'll go over to what it looks like. Once that template repository is created, it'll look like this, and you can hit this deploy to Heroku button. That'll take you on over to Heroku. You'll just follow this Heroku deploy process. Anyways, go ahead and give this a name. Like I said, I've already gone through this process, so that's why that name's not available. Make sure you modify this base URL to include the name of your app as well, and then you can hit deploy app here. Now I've already done this, so here's my app. You're going to want to go to the settings page once it's deployed and make note of your API key as well as your base URL. You'll need those in a second. Now that we have our agent deployed on Heroku, we'll go ahead and create our Node.js app. Just a bit of setup here. Make sure you initialize your yarn and add your TypeScript and TS Node packages, and then you're going to want to add the Veramo core and Veramo remote client packages. Of course, you also want to create your TypeScript config and these three files, which I'll show next. This is a TypeScript config just for your reference. Your setup file is going to look like this. So this is a get agent function, which gets your agent's schema API and basically uses that to create a local agent that just has this agent REST client plugin, which allows you to call functions on your remote agent easily. Then you can have this create credential file. So this will use that agent that you just created in that previous file. It will get the DID from the agent. The default Heroku instance comes with this type of did web already set up. Make sure to replace this with the name of your app or else it won't work. And now we just call this function to create our verifiable credential. We're going to use the LDS proof format for this one. Make sure you have the correct context here or else it won't create this correctly. And then once this credential is created, we'll go ahead and save it in our data store. We'll also create this list credentials function just to make it very easy to see what is in our agent. This just calls our data store get verifiable credentials function and prints it out. I've already set this project up in VS Code, so we can switch over there and see what happens when we run this. So well, that makes sense, of course. I forgot to actually replace this with my actual keys. Takes a little bit of extra time here if you haven't used your Heroku instance in a few minutes or hours because it has to wake up that Heroku instance. But there you go. We've created our new credential, the LDS proof format. Now, of course, we can also just call a function to list our credentials, and that should pretty much print out the same thing right now, since that's the only credential we have. And there you go. The list credential shows the one credential we currently have in our database. And lastly, we can show you how to issue credentials in the browser using Veramo with Metamask installed. So go ahead and navigate to explore.veramo.dev. Of course, you can also run this React app locally by cloning the repo. And then you're going to want to go into your settings and connect your Web3 wallet, and then go back to your dashboard. So here on the dashboard, I'm going to add this create profile credential widget. I'm going to select the DID that's managed by Metamask here to issue from, fill this credential out, and make sure I select this EIP-712 proof type. Now our Heroku hosted agent actually by default includes a DIDCOM messaging endpoint, so it's ready to receive DIDCOM messages. So not only are we going to create this credential by signing it with Metamask, we're going to send it to that other agent over DIDCOM. So just behind the scenes here, what's happening is it's going to issue the credential. This will pop up the Metamask window, and then it's going to pack it as a DIDCOM message and then send it over DIDCOM to the recipient. So when I click this, it pops up a Metamask window, and I hit sign on Metamask, and now it's taking that credential, issuing it, and sending it to this agent. So I can actually see that this credential is here in my credentials list. But if we go back over to VS Code and we run our list credentials command again, we'll see that we have this second credential in here now. So it's not just that credential that we created, but it's also this EIP-712 credential that we just received over DIDCOM. And of course, in the Agent Explorer, I can actually connect to my Heroku agent here and manage this agent in this UI. So make sure you just pop in your schema URL and your API key, and now I'm connected to my Heroku agent as well, and I can check the credentials here and see that I have two credentials, the one that I created and this one that I received from the local Web3 agent. So hopefully this demo showed you how easy it is to use Veramo to create credentials. We created credentials with 3 different did methods in 3 different environments and using 3 different proof formats. Any combo of them should work basically anywhere. It's very easy to get started. And then we additionally sent a verifiable credential over DIDCOM from the browser to our cloud agent all in just a minute or so. Make sure to check us out on veramo.io, star our interesting GitHub repositories, and join our Discord to ask questions and communicate with other people building on Veramo. Thank you very much.